Okay, I think we might get started. So welcome to this library webinar on using ebooks. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the lands within our footprint areas, the Awabakal Nation, Darkinjung Nation, Biripi Nation, Worimi Nation, Wonnarua Nation, and Eora Nation. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So my name is Michael. I'm a librarian and I'm at the City campus. Also, we've got Gemma Noon with us. She's a librarian at Arimba campus. And
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Gemma. And as Gemma said, she'll be monitoring the chat. So please, if you have questions as we're going through how to use ebooks, please put them in the chat and we can address them as we're going through. And we're going to be looking at the website a little bit and doing some searching for ebooks and using ebooks. So feel free to follow along, get up the library website, have a go yourself, become familiar with all of the things that we're looking at, and that might trigger some more questions for you as well. So please have a go yourselves. So in this session, we're going to be talking about the benefits of using ebooks. So why would you go to an ebook when you can use a paper book, or it's a little bit more effort? Why go and use an ebook? How do library ebooks work? So obviously with borrowing, it's a little bit different from borrowing a physical book. So we're going to be looking at those things. How to find ebooks through the library catalog, and then how to use ebooks effectively. So we're going to talk a little bit about the tips and tricks, how you can use them, the most effective way to get the most out of it for your study and really take advantage of some of those extra functions that ebooks have. So firstly, the benefits of using ebooks. So the first one, anywhere, anytime. So when you're using an ebook, it's just based on internet access. So wherever you have the internet, you can access that book. It doesn't matter if the library's closed, it's after hours, or you're not close by the library. You can always jump online and access an ebook. So that I think is the biggest benefit. They're really immediate access. And also because you're dealing with online things, they're not taking up space. So you don't have to carry them to and from uni, those huge maths or physics textbooks. You can keep them online, jump in and out of them whenever you need them. So it's a really big benefit. Better for the environment. So obviously less paper taken up with everyone using electronic copies. That's a really good benefit as well. No library fines. So again, we're going to talk about this a bit later, how you borrow and use ebooks, but your digital book or your ebook will never be overdue. Okay, it will always, if you do borrow it, it will just go back to the library automatically. You don't have to worry about library fines and those due dates. The extra functionality, so we're going to look at this as well. Different ways that you can use ebooks because they are online. There's different things that you can do with ebooks that make them really useful for studying in particular. So we're going to be looking at that. And access to a wider range of books. So the university library has a digital first collection policy, which means that we prefer to get new books as electronic copies. And this is not unusual. All university libraries are going this way because of the ease of purchasing ebooks and a whole bunch of reasons, the benefits of ebooks that we're talking about. So when you're looking for material now, especially current material, recent material, you'll have access to a lot more books if you use ebooks as well. So definitely for getting that wide range of content, it's really important that you're familiar with how ebooks work and that you're open to giving them a go. So we're going to go through a few of those things when we get the ebooks up later in the session. So how do library ebooks work? So when you're accessing an ebook through the library catalog, and we will go through this in detail later, you will need to log in. So you need a uni password, the same that you would use to log into our computers, to show that you have the right to access that material. So it has that login. It's not for anyone to use. You need to be a student of the university to use an ebook from the library. And that login, that rights to use the material, plays into something that we call digital rights management, or DRM. So the books that we have usually have a subscription to. Some of them we own, some of them we subscribe to. They will have different rules about who can access, how many times they can access, how many users can use them at one time, how much you can download or copy, download to PDF. So those types of rules about how you can use ebooks. And that information is managed by digital rights management. So when you log in, it will keep a track of how you've used that ebook and make sure you're still fitting in with those rules of our subscription. And that also applies to when you're borrowing. So if you borrow a book, you might select that you want to borrow it for 7 days. It will keep track of that time and return it for you after that period. So that digital rights is something that's different from a physical book. It sort of keeps track of all of that usage of the electronic books. So again, something a bit different with ebooks, something that might be familiar or might not be, but it's just something to be aware of and keep in mind when you are using ebooks from the library. Now, all of the ebooks that we have come from different platforms. So like if you're familiar with journal databases, we also have ebook databases provided by different vendors. They all look slightly different, but they will have a lot of the same functions. So we're going to have a look at one vendor today. But if you're using ebooks and it looks slightly different, that's why. It's come from a different platform. But you'll still need to look for all of that similar information, and it will just be displayed slightly differently in the different platforms. And it may mean that you need to use the ebooks slightly differently if they come from a different platform. Some might be open access, you can do whatever you want, and some might be a bit more restrictive. But we'll get into that more when we get the ebooks up to have a look at. Any questions about that digital rights management or how using ebooks in the library might work?
Doesn't look like we've got anything in the chat so far, but please feel free to pipe up, everyone, if anything occurs to you.
No worries. It might be easier to visualize once we get some examples up.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step, we know about ebooks. The next step is finding them through the library catalog. So there are a few ways that you can find books. One is through just the library search, as you would search for any other resource in the library, and we're going to try that. We also have a couple of guides. We have an ebook guide, which has a lot of information about ebooks and examples of ebook collections where you might access ebooks. So I'll show you where that is on the library website. And we also have subject resource guides, which are guides that are curated specifically for different disciplines, for example, history or architecture. And in those subject resource guides, they will have examples of ebook collections that are focused on that subject area. So they're a good place to go as well when you're looking for any material, but there's a spot on there for ebooks. So we'll show you where that is as well. Okay, so I might just get the website up. And yeah, we'll start looking for some ebooks. So this is the library homepage. And firstly, we're just going to do some searching using this library search here. So firstly, there is this books tab here, which will limit your search just to books and ebooks. So you can select that. If you just search in all as well, there's an option to put that books restriction to books on later as well. So you can use either. I'll use the books tab, and I'm going to do my general search for turtle, and we'll see what comes up. So you may be familiar with library search. You've got your results down the middle, a bit of extra information on the right-hand side, so related topics, related journals, your interlibrary loans material. And then on the left, you have a set of restrictions for refining your search. And you can see, because we selected that book tab on the front page, here in content type, it's selected for us. We're restricting our search to books or ebooks. Now, because we're looking just for ebooks, we don't want those physical books, which are also included in this search. You can see this book here is at the library at Central Coast. We want to get rid of that. We just want the online material. We can select this limit up the top here, full text online. So that will restrict it just to online material, and in combination with this book selection, now we just have ebook results. Okay, and you can put on more restrictions as well with your publication date, different disciplines. So you can see we've got some poetry here, different things. If we just want that biological zoology sort of information, we could select those disciplines here. And then when you've found an ebook that you want to use, you can go in through this full text online or through the title, it doesn't matter, and open up that ebook. So it's just signing in there. Okay, so we've got our book, The Turtles of Mexico, and we're in ProQuest Ebook Central. So when I was talking about those different platforms that ebooks come on before, ProQuest Ebook Central is probably the biggest ebook platform that we have and that you will have access to. So if you can find your way around this platform, you'll be able to access most of the ebooks that we have. All of the other platforms are just as simple, but will look slightly different. So in Ebook Central, what you will get is a table of contents here, some of the book details. This is the type of thing that you might need for your referencing. And then over here on the left, you have some different options, and across the top, different options for using the ebook. So there are three basic ways that you can use an ebook. One is to read online, this option here, which is just viewing the book online. You're not borrowing it. It's not attached to your record in any way. You're just going online and viewing the ebook. The next one is to download the book. So this is more equivalent to your borrowing the ebook. This will download to your device. The digital rights management will kick in. You'll be asked to select a borrowing period. So you can select, and it'll be different for different books, but I think on ProQuest, you can select 3, 7, or 14 days, something like that. And the book will return itself to the library at the end of that period. You do need to have some specific software if you're going to download the book and borrow it though. So on a PC, you need some software called Adobe Digital Editions. It's an Adobe product, and it will allow you to view that book just like a PDF basically, but it has that extra functionality of keeping track of the digital rights management. That's why you need that extra piece of software. There are instructions on how to download that in the ebook guide that I will show you as well. If you're on a Mac or on a portable device, Bluefire Reader is the software that we recommend. But because there's that extra step of having to get extra software, it needs to return it. It's just a little bit more complicated. And you don't always have the same functionality in those reading pieces of software that you would have if you were just reading online. So if you can read online, I think that's the best way to do it, the easiest way. And when we open up the book, I'll show you some of the extra functions that you will get if you're reading online as compared to borrowing the book. If you do need to have it, the whole book, and use it offline, you can use this option though. The third option is just to download a section. So download a chapter, and you can see here we have the download PDF chapter option, and down at the table of contents, you can select a chapter to download. Now up the top, you will have sort of some instructions around what access that you have to the book. So this one, it says your institution has unlimited access to this book. So it doesn't matter how many people are trying to use this book at one time, they will all be able to use it. And over here, there are no copy, print, or download restrictions on this title. So for this title, you can download and keep as much as you want. So for this particular book, there's no reason to borrow because you can download and keep the PDF files if you want to. Some books will have a restriction here. It might say you can download 60 pages or download 2 chapters, something like some information about what the limit for downloading is. You might also have an instruction here that says your institution is limited to 3 simultaneous users. So for a lot of the popular books, there will be a limit to how many users can go on at one time. So you just need to be aware of these instructions at the top here. But for this book, we can go ahead and do what we want with it, basically. Don't download as much as we want or view online.
And if it does actually have some of those restrictions, for example, there's a limit of the number of users, please be courteous to your classmates and just make sure that you log off once you've used the source, just to make sure everyone has equal access. Absolutely.
That's a good point. And we may as well talk about it now, that sort of ebook etiquette, the best way to use ebooks. And as Gemma said, the best way to use an ebook, if there is that limit on the number of users, is to jump in. If you can, download a chapter, the specific chapter that you need, so you can continue to use it, and then jump back out again to let anyone else in. So you'll be able to go in for a short time, download the sections that you need, and then jump back out. If you were to borrow that book, then that would be one of those users taken up. So just if there's those limits on it, yeah, as Gemma said, think about your classmates. It's probably because that book is in high demand, especially if it's a course text, a core text, or something that you know has been asked of from your lecturers to use. Yeah, be considerate of other people. Okay. So I was talking about some of that extra functionality that you will get in an ebook. And this is another one of the reasons that we recommend reading online. So we'll just go into, we'll just go in and read online. And this is what it will look like here when you go into read online. You get this table of contents, so you can jump through to any section of the book here. You also get this search bar, and this is one of the best bits about ebooks as compared to print books. You can search the whole contents of that book for keywords. So we've got this book here, The Turtles of Mexico, Land and Freshwater Forms. If I'm only interested in freshwater turtles. I can put that in as a keyword and search through the whole book to see where that word occurs. And not only do I get the different results, but it shows me which chapters those results are appearing in. So you can see I've got a hit here in the title, obviously, because that word's in the title. But when we get down to the chapters, it'll show me that there's a lot of hits for freshwater in this chapter, a few in these, and a few more in the literature cited. So there might be some references that I could use in there as well. But the majority of those references to freshwater are occurring in this chapter. And if you open that chapter up, you will see where those words are occurring and a little bit of context as well. So you can read the sentence that it's occurring and say, oh, that's not really what I was after, or that one does look like it's the information that I'm looking for. And you can look through. So this is a really handy feature of ebooks, being able to search.
Yeah, it's quite similar to using an index in a print book, but I think it's much more intuitive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get that context as well. Whereas when you look to the index, you might just see so many references to that term. You're not sure how that term's being used, whereas this one will give you that little bit of context around it. And then when you flip over to, so we'll just go through to this section. You can see the words are highlighted as well when you go over to the text. Yep. Okay, so there's that searching function, which is really handy. You also have these functions across the top of the ebook as well. So you can bookmark a page, and you can do that here by clicking this bookmark icon. You can also just click this bookmark here. That will add a bookmark to the page. You can highlight, which is great. I wanted to highlight this section that contained my freshwater quote, and you can highlight in different colors. So I might do blue for the quotes about freshwater turtles. So you can color code it, and you can add notes as well. So I'll put my note in there, and you can see it there. So there's lots of things that you can add there. And when you go across to this star menu on the left-hand side, it keeps track of all of those things. So it's got my bookmark that I've put in. It's got the different highlights that I've put into the book as well. And they're all kept track of in this star menu. So you can edit them, delete them, find them easily. And when we were talking about the benefits of viewing online as well, one of them is that when you're viewing online, every time you go back to this book, these edits, the bookmarks, the highlights, everything will be kept there for you. Just by going back and viewing online, because you're logging in, it's pulling up your version of that book, so you can keep everything there. If you download it to something like Adobe Digital Editions, it won't do that for you. Every time you borrow it, it will be like borrowing a new copy, and you won't keep that sort of continuity of your edits and your annotations. So this is a really big benefit of viewing online. You can also add a book to your bookshelf. That's the zoom in. I've already added it there. I'm not sure why that is grayed out, maybe because I have already added it, but there is an option to add a book to your bookshelf, so that if you've used a few different books, you can always sort of save them to your bookshelf and go back and find them later. I might just show you that because I think I have already added it. If you go to the bookshelf up here in the top right, you'll get a list of all of the books that you have added to your, and this is just ProQuest Ebook Central, but you've added them to your bookshelf and it will keep track of your annotations, you can see here. But you don't have to add it to a bookshelf for it to keep track of your annotations. It will do that automatically.
It's a nice feature to keep things organized though. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Any other questions about sort of these different functions that you can use in ProQuest Ebook Central?
Nothing in the chat so far, Michael.
All right. I think that's most of the different things that you can do in ProQuest. One of the other things that you can do in the bookshelf is create different folders. So if you wanted to, if you had a particular, it's just loading there, if you had a particular assignment, you could keep all of your resources for that assignment or for that course in one section. I think the default one is just called research, but you can make a new folder and add things to different folders. So that's another good way of keeping track of things. Yep. All right, we might just go back to our library search and find a few other ebooks that have slightly different credentials. I'll just do a search for marine biology. And I think I have a book here that will show you that limit of users. So I'll open that up. It's just taking a bit of time today. Okay, so here, this book, again, ProQuest Ebook Central. This is what it will look like if you have those restrictions. So you can see here, your institution has access to 3 copies. So that means if 3 people are already reading that book, it wouldn't let anyone else in. And as we were talking about before with that etiquette, is get in, download the section that you need and jump out again so someone else can get in. You also can see here.
Sorry, Michael, I'll just stop you. Hafer has a question. They'd just like us to repeat how to save the ebooks. If you wouldn't mind showing that step again.
Yeah, sure. So I'll do it with this ebook here. So on the front page, there is this button here, add to bookshelf. And there's also an option when you are reading online. So I'll just show you how this one works. You just press add to bookshelf here. And you will get a selection. The default one is research. If you can make a new folder as well. And then you just add item to your bookshelf and that's done. And you can see here, it now says save to bookshelf. But that's just for the ProQuest Ebook Central books. So it's just a setting within this platform. And then to go to your bookshelf, it's this option up here. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, Michael.
No worries. Okay, and you've got your restrictions. So this one has a limit of 50 pages for downloading PDF or copying. And if you download one chapter and it's 26 pages, you will see that next time you log in, that number will change. It will keep track of it so that you will only have 24 pages left. So that's what that will look like. Any other questions about Ebook Central? I think we might go back to the homepage and I'll show you where those guides are.
Nothing so far, Michael, all good.
Okay, so I'll just go back to the library homepage. So I've mentioned the ebook guide. So here on the homepage, if you come down to find e-journals and ebooks, come in here, and here we have the ebook guide. So this has some examples of ebook collections, so you can go straight to them. So you can go straight to something like ProQuest Ebook Central and search within that. You can see that we've got different tabs up here with some information about each of those platforms. We have a list of free ebook platforms, so things like Project Gutenberg. So remember, you can use these resources. They're great for study, but you can use them for recreational reading as well. There's lots of good stuff that you can find in the library and through these free open access ebook collections. And in the FAQs section here, we've got some questions about that software that you need to download ebooks. There's links in there to how to download Adobe Digital Editions and Blue Fire Reader as well. So that's from that ebook guide. And I also mentioned the subject resource guides. So I'll just quickly show you. So for example, if we go into business management, on each of the guides, you will have a section which has ebook collections, and there'll be a section of key ebook collections for that subject area. So this one, it's including Springer Business and Economics, Oxford Reference Online. So that's a good way of finding appropriate collections for your area of study. Okay, I think that's about it, guys. If there's no other questions.
We do have a question.
Yep.
Can I find books in other language, such as Arabic?
There is, I'll show you on the search. So I can't enter Arabic on the search bar, but I'll just do my general search for turtle again. So the majority of our material is going to be in English, but you can always look and search for things by language. Doesn't look like there's anything in Arabic in the results, or maybe this one, I'm not sure. You can search by language though. So that's the way to do it. As I said, the majority of results will be English, but we can see by far and away mostly English, but there are things that you can view in other languages.
Okay, thank you, Michael. That was a good question too.
It was. Right. If you do have questions later, or when you're using the ebooks, you can always get in touch with us as well. We have this Ask the Library button on the homepage. There's heaps of ways to get in contact with us online as well as face-to-face. We have the library chat here. You can type in a question, and when it's green, someone will respond to you. We have the email as a question, text as a question. We have Book a Librarian, where you can book a session with the librarian, either online or face-to-face, where they can chat with you and you can ask questions. So there's heaps of ways to get in contact. So if you do have questions about ebooks or any other library related things, please get in contact with us. So thanks everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Gemma. And yeah, we hope to see you around the library.
No worries. See you later, everyone.